On today's episode of Saber Sundays, we're going to talk about the saber that nobody really expected when it came out, but they were really hoping for it. Let's just say this is the way. We'll talk about it next. Stick around. So before we actually look at the Darksaber, let's actually take a few moments and look at the history of this saber. It is unique as it is one of a kind. It was actually designed and created by Tar Vizsla, who was inducted into the Jedi Order, and it was the first Mandalorian to ever become in part of the Jedi Order. Once Tar Vizsla died, it was kept in the temple, the Jedi Temple, until it was raided basically by the House of Vizsla during the fall of the Old Republic. At such time, it was held in there with the House of Vizsla, and then became was handed down to basically Pre Vizsla, who was an ancestor of Tar Vizsla. Was also the leader of the Death Watch, and also the leader of the new Mandalore in the Clone Wars after the pacifist version of Mandalore was basically weeded out, I guess you could say. Pre Vizsla then lost the Darksaber, even though he had battled Obi-Wan with it and other Jedi, and had literally told Obi-Wan that other Jedi had fallen to this saber just as he would. But Maul ended up defeating Pre Vizsla and in turn winning the Darksaber from him. Maul actually held on to the Darksaber until he was defeated by Darth Sidious when Darth Sidious came to Mandalore. He was given back the Darksaber after he was freed from prison by Prime Minister Olmec, who found the Darksaber in the Sundari Royal Palace after Maul was defeated by Darth Sidious. Later on, you find that Kanan Jarrus actually found the Darksaber in a hut that Darth Maul had it in, kind of symbolizing as a relic, and when he saw it there, he was curious of the Darksaber. At some point, and I don't remember where exactly it happened, the Night Sisters actually on Dathomir ended up with the Darksaber, and Sabine Wren actually found the Darksaber at that location. She was later trained by Kanan to learn how to wield it, and then became its rightful owner after defeating the Viceroy Gar-Saxon in a duel, which then basically made her like the actual leader of Mandalore at that point. At one point after that, Bo-Katan, she was offered the Darksaber by Sabine due to her being the sister of the former Duchess, who ran the pacifist version of Mandalore before it was taken over by Pre Vizsla. Bo-Katan then did accept it as a gift and became the leader of Mandalore with the support of multiple clans from Mandalore. However, she never actually won it, and later on she actually regretted that because she didn't feel like she was the true owner and actually deserved to have the Darksaber. Now, there's a lot of time there in between after Bo-Katan has it that we don't really know exactly what happened. But somewhere along the lines, around 9 ABY, or after the Battle of Yavin, we find, and it's the first time that we actually see it in live action, where Moff Gideon actually has the Darksaber. We actually see that in the final episode, the finale of season 1 of The Mandalorian. If you haven't seen that already, well, sorry, that's your fault. You should have already seen it by now. So if that's a spoiler for you, hey, it is what it is. It's been, season 2's already come and gone and already on there, so you should have seen it by now. Going forward, we then see in season 2 where Din Djarin, or Mando as we know him, actually gained control of the Darksaber after defeating Moff Gideon when he's trying to rescue the foundling Grogu from Gideon. He does try to pass on the Darksaber to Bo-Katan, gifting it to her again, and this time, though, she refuses that because she knows that she did not win it in combat, whereas Din Djarin had. She knew that she would not be the legitimate leader of Mandalore, and that honestly, I mean, Din Djarin was the rightful owner because of it. He then, if you haven't watched the current season of Book of Boba Fett, you may want to skip ahead for just a second because, spoiler alert, we see Mando, or Din Djarin, in one of the episodes of the Book of Boba Fett. And in that episode, he has to defend himself, or defend the honor of the Darksaber from one of the descendants of Tar Vessel on Glavis. But even though he wins and he's able to keep the Darksaber, and he does offer the Darksaber up, he was expelled from the Children of the Watch clan following, basically because of him violating the mandate, or the creed of the Mandalores, of not removing their helmets in front of anyone. So that's where we're at right now. At this point, Mando, Din Djarin, is the wielder of the Darksaber. And hey, in upcoming episodes of Book of Boba Fett, and maybe even, in the next Mandalorian season that should be coming up sometime this year, maybe. I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens with the Darksaber going forward. But let's move on. Let's go ahead and take a look and see just what this saber looks like. And I know many of you guys have already seen this saber. Some of you probably have it. Mine is slightly modified, and I'll show you how, and I'll actually give you a link to what I did. So this is the massive box that, let me see if I can get in screen here. There we go. This is the box that the Darksaber comes in. Now, this is the same size box that the new bundles that we've seen that have been sold on shopdisney.com that we're now seeing at Doc Ondar's, that have blade and stand and a belt clip and all that. Same size box. So they went to this design for those new bundles because of the size of it. Inside, I mean, it's kind of like a cardboard paper box almost. It is rather flexible, depending. So I think that they definitely skipped out on quality and durability and sturdiness on this box, in my opinion. But this is the way that they went. I'm sure it would have been a lot more expensive to make a larger plastic box. But it has this opening door. It's magnetic on here. It's got little round magnets. I believe there's 4 of them across the lid here on the inside that hold it in place. Then you have the inside of the box. So inside you actually have the Darksaber. You have the pieces of the stand, which we'll look at. And then underneath this is the blade. So let me just lift the tray out that has the saber and the stand and everything. Get this out of the way, and then I can show you where the blade sits. And this is where my modification is at. So here's my blade. Now, many of you guys have seen, I'm going to go ahead and take the blade out. Everybody knows that the blade that Disney made for this, people did not like very much at all. And the problem that people didn't like about it is it just didn't look right. I'm gonna put a picture up here in this corner that will show what the blade looked like from Disney, from Galaxy's Edge. And honestly, it did not look that good. There was way too much white. It's just like a black line on there. It just really didn't have the design that you would expect to see on the Darksaber based on how it looked in the episodes. Now, the one from Hasbro, the Force Effects, I do not have that one. Mainly because I didn't want to spend almost double the price it wasn't quite that much. It was like 1.5 times the price, to be able to get that one versus this one, from what I've been able to see, for me to be able to get it now and to compare. And I mean, there's plenty of other, content creators out there that have videos of it. Me, I only wanted the one. I'm trying to stay true to canon or to licensed equipment, even though I know Hasbro has license to be able to create them, but I'm trying to stay with my Galaxy's Edge style sabers at this point. That may change in the future. So let's go ahead and take a quick look. The stand itself, it's pretty basic. It's just got a slide-in piece that slides into this little groove, and I've not ever put this thing together, so for me this is like literally, as you can see, it's pretty snug. The first time trying to put this thing together, but this piece actually slides in. Let's see if I can get it to go in, because I really don't want to keep it on this stand, so I may not go ahead and put the whole thing together. I'm not sure yet. There we go. Anyway, it kind of goes in just like this. It's got these little plastic tabs that go on the side, that just slide on to hold the Darksaber in place. So let's go ahead and stick those on there, and then you kind of got the stand. A little cheap plastic stand, in my opinion. I don't really care for it, which is why I've never really taken it out. But onto the saber itself. So everybody's pretty much seen the Darksaber. My biggest beef with this design that Disney has done is the CoverTech wheel. If you watch the episodes, you see how it is used in there. There's actually a D-ring on this end. It clips right here on the side, and it has a D-ring that comes off. Does not have a CoverTech wheel. I think it's a crappy design. Doing it that way, Disney, I think, failed on that side of it. I think they could have done a better job with that. They also, and we'll see here shortly when I put the blade in, they do have the 4 windows that you see in the actual live action version of it in The Mandalorian. However, not all 4 of these light up on the Galaxy's Edge version. On the Hasbro version, they do light up. That's one of the big differences as well. Another thing I should say that I don't like is it has this little cover that goes on there, but it tends to come off very easy. Of course, today it's going to prove me wrong, but every time I had it in the box, it would pop out so easy. I mean, it's literally, it does not stay in very well at all. But that's where the blade actually inserts. Design-wise, I think it's really nice the way they did the design on this. Unlike the Hasbro, it does not have the speaker holes on the handle. So when you're holding it, you're not covering the speaker holes on the sides. So the sound actually comes out through the bottom. There's some different holes on the base piece here that, and I know because it's black, it's hard to see, but there's some different holes on there that allows the sound to come out. You got your activation button here. And then this is actually a quick release. This is the button you press to take the blade out. As far as the battery compartment goes, and I know this is something that I have seen a lot of people asking about the batteries inside this saber. So we're going to talk about that now. To be able to get these batteries out and get them out easy, put some pressure on the base, and let me do it this way. You're going to basically try to take the CoverTech screw off, or the CoverTech belt, wheel. You're going to go until the screw is loose, and then the top just springs off. The screw actually screws into this little hole on the side, and that's what holds the battery pack in. Battery pack just slides out the bottom. I mean, you can see it. It just slides out, and that's your battery pack. Now, with this battery pack, you have, and I know it's really hard to see, but this opening right here, down inside, I'm trying to see if I can get some light to hit it. There you go. That's where the speaker holes are at. That's where all the sound comes from on this. The one question I see the most on there is, how do you take the batteries out of this? It's not like the other ones where you've got, a screw on there that you take out easy. Technically you do, but it's a little difficult. The screw is right here on this tab. And I'll get close here. It's this third screw that sits right here in the middle. There's a little dog ear right here on that. You unscrew that, and as you go here, you'll see screw comes out. It doesn't come out all the way. It actually stays, it's loose. It stays in the sleeve. Now, the sleeve just slides up. If you have a problem with getting the sleeve to come up on this, what I ended up doing to take it off the first time, I turned this upside down and I tapped it on my counter, and the sleeve slid off. It's a little snug the first time coming off, so you may have a little bit of difficulty getting it off, but once you take it off the first time, it's going to come off very easy. It has 3 AAA batteries inside there. I've got some cheap batteries just because all the batteries I had were running dead. I'm going to get some of the lithium batteries to put in here. So right now I'm just using some Amazon basic alkaline AAA batteries. Again, I don't keep my batteries in the Sabers when they're on display, so it doesn't bother me using these kind of batteries. If you take the sleeve completely off, you'll see that there's a little dog ear here, but you have this groove on the side right there. That groove goes in between the 2-side battery because there is a groove, and I know it's kind of hard to see, but there's a groove right here. It literally slides into that groove. Slide down, tighten down your screw, and you're done. So that's how you're going to remove your batteries, change your batteries, undo your battery pack inside the Disney Darksaber. So you go to slide this back in. Inside, and it's really, really hard to see, but there's a notch right there at the end of my finger. It's a little tab that sticks out. That goes in the groove right there, so it will drop in. If you try, and I almost put it in upside down, if you try to put it in backwards, it's not going to go in. It's going to hit on an angle like this. So you have to turn it around, and it just drops right in. Very easy, very simple, and then you put your screws back in. Now, with this, to be able to get it in, it's going to be really, really difficult to get that screw to start. So the easiest way, grab it, push down, put some pressure on it, and just screw it back in. It goes in real easy as long as you're applying pressure to the end cap. Then you're back connected again. Now your blade. This blade is different. You can see here I've got a different design on my blade. I actually got, it's a vinyl kit that is sold on Etsy. I will put the link in the description down below for you guys to be able to go and look at it if you decide that you want to get one. It is sold by the FlashTheShop on Etsy. It's listed as a Darksaber custom blade vinyl. Right now it's retailing for $14.99. There's a lot of information on there about it. I will say that at this very moment, as me recording this video, they are not available. I'm hoping that by the time this video comes out, he'll start getting requests. It says Tony Martinez from FlashTheShop, that he'll be able to go in and add some additional ones to him. I'm actually going to message him and let him know that I'm featuring this on my video here for you guys, so that he'll know that he may have some sales coming up with it. I purchased this one myself. This was not given to me. It wasn't sent to me separately. It wasn't any kind of sponsorship or anything like that. So this I purchased myself to try out, and I've really been impressed with, and I like it. It's not difficult to put on. It basically comes in 6 pieces. It's got an end down here. It's got an end layer that then you line up. You got a middle section, and then you got a base section that goes all the way down. And it comes with instructions to explain to you exactly how it works. So with that, let's go ahead and insert our blade. You're going to insert it with this little notch right here facing up as it goes in. You'll know because you have your angle here and the angle of the blade, and then you're locked in. To remove the blade, you press on this little button on the bottom, and you can see the blade comes out. Now, the original blade design that comes with it, you can still kind of see a little bit right here. You can see just how much space there was around that line. I mean, the strip they put on there is not much wider than my finger, so you had a good 1/4 inch on each side of the blade that was just white. It was just there. So you insert the blade in, you get your sound, and you power on. Now I'm going to turn my lights off so that you can, so that you guys can see this better. Put these off here. Yeah, I've got a bunch of lights on in here for you guys. So here is the way this blade design looks. Looks much, much better. Looks more accurate to the way it shows in the Clone Wars. More accurate to the way you see it in Mandalorian. So it definitely gives it a different look. I think with the overlay, it actually improves this enough that I would prefer this way versus the one that is offered by Hasbro. For 15 bucks, you add this on and you've got a legit blade. Now, it does not correct the issue where you do not get a lot of light at the very tip, unfortunately. That is just because Disney doesn't use the greatest in LEDs. But you get some good sound. It's fairly sensitive on movements. Got a little bit of a clash sound to it that it flickers. My other problem is you don't get 4 lights lit up on the blade here. They skimped out on LEDs, so you only get, basically the top one here is the only one lit up, and it kind of trickles down or bleeds down into the bottom 3 like this. But it doesn't give you that quality of light that you would normally expect, you know, to be able to see on a Darksaber. Also, you know, in comparison to what you see on the Hasbro version. But too much light. But that is the Darksaber. That's how the Darksaber looks. That's how my blade upgrade goes. And honestly, I love it. I think it's a lot better. I like the improvement of the blade by using this kit. Again, that link is going to be down in the descriptions for you. Now, this saber weighs in at 1 pound, 2.4 ounces, so it's not a really heavy saber at all. I think they've done a very good job on making it screen accurate to the live action version of it. I've seen plenty of pictures from online showing that this is actually the way that it was to look on screen. Some people think that the bands here should be more of a grayish color, but if you look at it closely in the show, this is the way it's supposed to look. So let me know what you think about the Darksaber. Leave me some comments down below. I would love to hear what your thoughts are on it. Do you prefer the Hasbro? Do you prefer the Legacy? What do you think about the blade kit, to be able to add the overlay on the blade to make it look more screen accurate with the lightning look to it? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. As always, take a look, and if you don't mind, at our socials. All my video information is updated on there. You've got my Instagram, my Facebook, and my Twitter. All of that information is going to come off of those as far as when these videos are released, and you may have actually already seen those. Definitely go follow me on those, because that's where you're going to get that information the quickest and the soonest. Go ahead, and if you don't mind, I'd appreciate it. Give me a like, follow, sub on YouTube if that's where you're watching it at, which I'm sure you are, because you'll get a link to this. But follow me on those the platforms there for it. It helps me out to see that you guys are enjoying what I'm doing. Until next time, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. And as always, may the Force be with you.